I'm Tony Maws, and here we are in Somerville, Massachusetts at the Kirkland and Trotter, and we're going to talk today about one of my favorite subjects in food groups, the hot dog, and how to make the perfect dog. I've always been a hot dog guy. It's nostalgic, it's sentimental, and they're delicious. I don't like those pallid, flavorless, mushy dogs that a lot of people just package or even that you get at most ballparks. I like a true dog, one that has snap, one that has character, flavor, one that makes you salivate, makes you get sad at the end of eating this hot dog. And that's what we set out to do here at the Kirkland and Trotter, was to make that very dog. I think a lot of people have an identity issue or crisis almost with the hot dog because they think of it as it's supposed to be junk meat that's stuffed. Well, a hot dog is a sausage. What it really is to me is a terrific sausage that is finely ground, emulsified, whipped. Well, I think one of the reasons why it's so hard to get a good hot dog is that it's really hard to make. You know, not that making any sausage is easy, but you know, a simple country sausage where you grind the meat, maybe with a little bit of fat back and some spices, and you case it, is actually an easy thing to make, and in a good way. But a hot dog just doesn't fall into that category. So not just for people at home, but even in restaurants, you need like a really good grinder, a big grinder. You need to be able to whip it. Well, when we were testing this hot dog, you know, better part of a year we spent just keep on making hot dogs, which is both a good thing and a bad thing, of course. It's probably the hardest sausage I've ever made because it's very fickle. The ratio of the meat to the spices, what those spices actually are, how it feels in your mouth, like the actual grind. To me, a good hot dog isn't like super fine. That's one of the things that makes it very mushy sometimes. So I wanted a little bit of texture, but not too much. First thing that we did was we said, okay, we're not going to make a dog that's made out of crap, that's made out of bad meat. So we're buying the same quality meat that we do for everything else that we do in our restaurants. And that alone changed the ball game, no pun intended. A ratio of a good hot dog will depend on a lot of different things, and it really is about what you like in your dog. So we set out here to make almost like a knockwurst style hot dog. It's a little bit thicker, right? It's about the size of like an Italian sausage. It is a mixture of beef and pork. I mean, it's grass-fed beef. It's, you know, heritage pork. And then we wanted to make the hot dog that was familiar but interesting. So it's going to have spices that you've heard of, and it's going to have spices that we felt were typical of what a hot dog was. So it was getting the ratio, and of course grinding fresh and not buying like pre-ground big things of spices that tasted stale. So it's mustard seed, it's paprika, it's onion powder, it's garlic powder, it's a little bit of coriander, it's mace. It's those types of things, and then there you have your hot dog.
As I do not believe.
So this is real, all-natural pork casings. That's how we were going to get that knockwurst size. I tried it with collagen tastings, which would have made it kosher, and you're talking to a Jewish kid, so I mean, part of me was like, oh my God, I can't believe we're making this hot dog. But that's where the texture comes from, that's where the snap comes from, and that's the better hot dog for what we were trying to do. So we dry it, we hot smoke the hot dog. All hot dogs are basically pre-cooked. It's not a raw sausage. And then how you finish it is up to you. So you might boil it, you might put it on the grill, you might fry it, whatever it is you're gonna do. Here we've got this big, awesome wood-fired grill, and it just seemed like that's what we're supposed to cook this hot dog on. It's gotta be cooked on a wood fire. We make a really yummy relish. It's based on a southern piccalilli that we make here in the house. We make a ballpark mustard. It's a yellow, deli-style mustard with just enough bite and a little bit of caraway to make it kind of fun and interesting. We put that in a pretzel roll. That was a whole other conversation. What bun are we going to use here? I don't like that soft, squishy, almost Wonder Bread texture bun. I think a really good hot dog bun should have enough firmness so it doesn't fall apart, but obviously it has to be soft and supple enough that you can enjoy eating it. You don't want to fight with your hot dog. It's very possible to make a hot dog at home. It's going to take a couple practice runs because, you know, a good grinder or even just a sharp blade with a grinder, a lot of people forget that that's going to be important because if the blade isn't sharp or if your grinder doesn't have enough power, it's going to not grind the meat properly. And the whole thing is about keeping proteins intact and not letting the fat and the meat separate. It's almost like if you're making a mayonnaise and it breaks or separates. Well, the same thing happens with meat and fat. So you have to keep it cold enough, sharp enough, the process has to happen fast enough, And this is why it becomes so tricky. Making a hot dog really shows what you know about the process of sausage making. And to be frank, I learned a lot in the process. There's another pun.
To be frank.
To be frank.